Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where I talk about books from the Book of the Month Club and beyond. I'm Renee, I'm your host. Let's get started. Today, I'm going to follow up on the final questions from the Booktube Newbie Tag. I have the final 5 questions that I need to answer still. But before I do that, I just wanted to follow up a little bit on my last video where I mentioned that I had started a book called Dear Evan Hansen. This is by Val Emmich, and it is a novel that is based on a screenplay. And this turned out to be a very good read, a very good book. I finished it on Thanksgiving Day. I gave it 4.5 stars. I have the full review on Goodreads, and it seems to be running 4 to 4.5 stars on both Goodreads and Amazon. So it seems like everybody likes this one. Highly recommended. In the meantime, I also started reading another book. This is a thriller that I picked up along the way, and it's called Alone in the Woods. The author is Charlie Cox. This book, I believe, comes from 2021 is the copyright date. And it is actually the third in a series about a detective whose name is Alyssa Wyatt. This is a thriller, and so far it has kept me on the edge of my seat. This is also a very good book. It's trending about 4.3 stars on Goodreads, 4.5 on Amazon, so it's well rated. Obviously, I would recommend it even though I'm not done with it because I'm almost halfway through it, and it's only been about a day or two that I've been reading this one. So, Alone in the Woods by Charlie Cox. Also, in my last video, I talked a little bit about the Nancy Drew series because I was talking about what kind of got me into reading. That was part of the newbie questions I was answering that day. And I thought I had a Nancy Drew book around somewhere, and I did manage to find this one. It's called The Secret of the Old Clock. Now, the writer of all of these, the author, was Carolyn Keene. This is, I believe, one of the 60s versions because it looks just like the ones that I read when I was younger. These books were actually started in the 1930s. That's when they were written. But just like the Bobbsey Twins books, as I mentioned in my last video, they were all redone in the 50s and 60s. And I was just kind of curious if they still print these. So I looked it up on Amazon, and you can actually purchase a whole brand new set of these. It's all 64 books, and they look like this. They're from this version. And that set is $600. So if you really like Nancy Drew and you have an extra $600 lying around, I'll put the link below. So let me get on to now the newbie questions. As I think I mentioned, I have the final 5 questions to answer, starting with number 7. So, what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So, the hardest challenges. Well, I've been looking at other people's Booktube Newbie Tag questions and their videos that they made with the same subjects. And it seems like, of course, the technical aspects are always something that we all feel like we could use some help with. It's been helpful to me so far to watch some of those videos, and it's pretty amazing what some people do. So I guess kind of the sky's the limit with that, and it would be fun to learn a little bit more about technically how to make the videos look, sound, and just be a little bit better. So that would be one thing. Also, of course, like every other YouTuber, I'm interested in building up a following, so there can be some more meaningful exchange and communication that can take place. And I think that that will help refine the channel as well. So the next question now is question number 8, and that is, when did you start reading? I think I talked a little bit about that in the last video as well. I actually started reading even before kindergarten, although I think probably around kindergarten age, 5 or 6 is usually the age that most children probably start learning, maybe a little bit in pre-K now. I think that's a great thing. Actually, my mom is the one that taught me. She was a reader. And so from reading to me, I started eventually memorizing things, and she started showing me the words. And I think that that's a great way for children to learn, just in their own home environment, being read to by parents, grandparents, because they're relaxed in that atmosphere, and it's repetitive. There's only so many books that they have, and they can pick it up usually pretty quickly, especially if there's someone that's really going to like reading, as I did. And so I always, throughout the grades, just kind of stayed ahead with reading, and I think that's the reason why I got that little jump start. So now we'll go on to question number 9, and that one is, where do you read? Actually, you can read anywhere, and that's the great thing about it. I always try to bring a book in a backpack, or whatever I have to bring along with me, my Kindle, or even just reading on the Kindle app on my phone, because you never know when you're going to be waiting at the airport, the doctor's office, or wherever, and you might have a little bit of time to read. So it's good to bring a book along. That is one of the great things about reading. It's very portable, especially when you have a Kindle. If you don't like the book you're reading, there's certainly plenty of others, and you can always even download more. But my favorite places to read are sitting outside, which is always fun. I usually take my dog with me, and that's good for her as well. Or of course, overall, I'd say my very favorite place is my easy chair. So now we're on to question 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I read pretty much across the board, a lot of different things, as you'll find as these videos go along. I think already I've shown pretty good variety, although most have been contemporary fiction, which I suspect overall is the type that I would read the most often, but they encompass adventure, mystery, thrillers, travel I like a lot. My favorite authors are Patricia Cornwell and John Grisham. I like those medical and legal thrillers. I also like to read biographies, autobiographies, LGBTQ plus books. I do read a little bit of horror, although not a whole lot. Of course, everybody reads Stephen King. I've probably read my share of Stephen King books. James Patterson's another author that has a lot of books, and I've read a few of those. I worked as a nurse in my working life, and I was always interested in stories about nurses. I read a lot of the books about nurses who went to Vietnam, went to Afghanistan, Iraq. Those were always interesting to me. And of course, probably like most people, I've read a little bit of self-help and psychology books. It's a good way to learn about yourself and just, get your questions answered sometimes. So the very last question now is, what does your book collection look like? Well, right now, it doesn't look great. I just moved recently, and so I actually passed a lot of books on to other people before I left. Books are a really hard thing to pack up and move. Moving is really expensive right now, so the less you can bring and the more you can condense, the less you have to pay for it. And when you start thinking about it that way, you know, there were a lot of things that I felt I could let go of. I still have quite a few books on my Kindle, so that's great. And that's a great, again, portable way to bring books with you. But since my book collection does not look good right now, I'm not going to show it. But I promise you that I will do that someday. And instead, what I'd like to show you is my indoor gardens. So I'm going to put the video on pause for just a moment, and we'll take a quick look at those before we wrap up the video. Okay, so here we have something that is another hobby of mine, in addition to reading and diamond painting, and that is growing. So these are my arrow gardens. This one is called the Harvest Model, and it has 6 pods in it where you can grow plants. This particular plant that I'm showing you right now is all one plant. It's growing in this pot right here. These grow without any soil. They just grow in water. They're hydroponic, and there's a light above. That's this right here. That goes on and off. You can set it to go on and off automatically, so you know, it goes on for approximately 12 to 16 hours a day, and that's how you get your plants going. I had some other, these are cascading petunias. I had some other petunias also growing in these same pots, and I transferred them into soil. So over on the right, you see the white petunias. They grew nowhere as large as the violet ones just yet, so but they're growing well, still in the soil. The other plant is just an extra one that I had. And let me pause you again for just a second. I'm going to show you another arrow garden. This one is very similar. It also has just one cascading petunia growing in it, and it's a little bit larger. You might be able to tell. This one has 9 pods where you can grow plants, and it has a larger and taller light on it so you can actually grow bigger plants. Above it, I have another petunia of a different color as well. So all of those have grown within the past couple of months. I think I planted them in late September. So it's really nice to have flowers in the house year round. Let me pause you for just a second and we'll wrap up the video. All right. Sorry for all those pauses. But anyway, we are, I think I've showed you everything that I've needed to show you for today. So I will put links to all the books that I mentioned in this video and to the arrow gardens as well. These are my affiliate links through Amazon. I do get a small amount of commission if you do happen to click through on those items. Costs you the same, and I just get a small amount. I would not link anything that I don't recommend. Also, arrow gardens usually go on sale through their own site, arrowgarden.com, that usually this time of year, so it's a good time to check in if you are interested in purchasing one. And I hope that you all are having a pleasant holiday weekend. While you're out shopping, you might want to take a look at the Toys for Tots collection bin and buy a toy for a child that might not otherwise get one. They take brand new toys. You just have to buy one at the store. I was able to pick some up for like $5 and $10 yesterday, and you just put them in the bin either there or at that same store, or you can look up on toysfortots.org where they're collecting in your area. I believe they're collecting until the 10th of December. So you still have some time to get that completed. And remember that you are the author of your own story. So make it a good one. Take care, and thank you for watching.